Welcome to Colombia! Today I'm going to explain you everything I know about the public transportation system here in Bogota. Currently we are here on the corner Séptima, which is a pedestrian area, pedestrian street, and the TransMilenio station Museo del Oro, Gold Museum. So, the most important transportation we have here in Bogota is the TransMilenio. And I show you what you need when I find it here. This is what you need. Without that, you cannot enter the system. It's called tu chave, your key. This costs you 5,000 pesos. You can get it at most TransMilenio stations. Buying a passage, you put your card on the door, on the wheel, and then it costs you 2,400 pesos and you can enter the system. And you can drive from north to south wherever you want just with those 2,400 pesos. And it works actually pretty good if there is no inconvenience. So once in the system, you have 11 main routes, or like in a underground in a major city. You have the chessboard because the main roads, north-south and east-west, and they're connected in some parts. The actual routes of the buses make no sense at all. So always you have to check which bus you have to take from getting from A to B and where to change, and it's very difficult. But thanks God, there's an app. You can download it on your phone, and it's actually very good because you not really need to put in the station. It tracks your location where you are at the moment, and then you just have to give the final destination, and then it calculates and give you the exact connection you need to take. There are some downsides with the TransMilenio system. Peak hours. So between 6 and 9 in the morning and let's say 4:30 in the afternoon and 7, the bus system gets really packed because Bogota is a city of over 10 million people. And the mass transportation system has not the capacity to move all those people at the same time. When you want to get on the bus, and it's almost impossible. So you have to queue lots of time and you become a street fighter within the TransMilenio station. Also, if there are many people waiting for the bus and you want to get off the bus, it's very difficult. Even me, I'm very tall, I'm 188, 90 kilo, but as soon the doors open, people rush in. There is no culture to leave people getting out of the bus. So what I usually do, I just walk and then people fly to the left and to the right and then they complain. Is it my fault? Is it their fault? I don't know. But I'm personally, sometimes I'm very annoyed, so I just walk. And then the others have to look for themselves. But don't do that if you're not as a person as I am, because you might call some attention. So anyway, the bus stations themselves are closed, so you have one entrance or two main entrances depending where the bus station is situated. They're quite big and they have glass doors opening and closing when the buses arrive, but most of the time that doesn't work. So people, they cheat, they run over the road and then they climb up, but that can be very costly. I think the new fine scheme says it costs you like 8 million pesos, which is $2,500. Nobody can pay that here, but it doesn't matter. That's the way how they try to protect the system, that people don't cheat. The very important stations are Portal Sur, because there you have the bus terminal next to it when you're going to leave Bogota by the south. Also, Portal del Norte. From there you have local buses going, for example, to Zipaquirá, or you cross the highway and there you have all the buses that leaving Bogota to the north. If you're going to Villa de Leyva or somewhere in Boyacá, for example, it's actually pretty good to take the bus. I'm taking TransMilenio since 4 years and I'm still using it, so I'm telling you also about some experience I had. Usually, besides from peak hours, the bus system is the fastest way to get around. it might happen that you have to wait for a long time and no bus arrives, but then 5 buses at the same time come. And still you always have to fight for your place. And also, getting in the bus, that's something really weird, which I do not understand until today. When a bus arrives, people get in, but some people, they walk to the front, to the entrance, and then they stop. And they block all the way. They need to take this number, but they don't want to stand in the bus, they want to sit. So they're blocking the entrance for everybody getting into the bus because they wait for the next one that they have a seat. Very confusing concept, no? But this is just how it works. But there is also some inconvenience with the TransMilenio system sometimes, because when there's rain, it slows down the system a lot. So it can happen that instead of 20 minutes from here, the center of the city, to Station Héroes, which is where you go to if going to the Zona T, Zona Rosa, it can take up to 90 minutes because the buses, they don't drive anymore. Then sometimes buses, they break down. Sometimes you have manifestations. Sometimes you have accidents. Sometimes, so several reasons why sometimes the bus system breaks down. If you're more than one, it might be a good idea to take a taxi because taxi is very cheap and it will not cost you a lot more than paying the fare for TransMilenio. There are other buses here in Bogota. So the red TransMilenio buses you see here, those are the main transportation for the masses, and they're quite big. But also you have the blue buses. The blue buses, they drive everywhere, and sometimes they go left and south and east and west. Also on the app you find the map and you see where they're actually driving to. And also they connect, for example, Chapinero with the city center. But they drive not all straight, they drive a little hick-hack. Then you also have the orange buses. The orange buses, they drive further away. So one of the orange buses I usually take, it stops, which is very good. It stops in front of the TransMilenio station Universities, and it drives all the way up north on the Septima. But it stops like every 100 meters. It's very slow, but it's the Septima bus, which is very good. And it goes until like 140 or 150 street. Then we have the green buses. They're for free, somebody said, and they're actually in the neighborhoods, collecting the people and then driving to the TransMilenio station. I'm not sure if you're ever going to use that. I never used one of those, but they also exist. And then you have the real crappy looking buses. Today they also say SITP, provincial or something like that. Those buses, due to the law, I think they would not be allowed to drive because when they accelerate, their exhaust is like whole streets become invisible because of the smog of the exhaust. But they still run, also in the La Candelaria, for example. And I don't know when they're going to replace them, but colectivos, you don't use your card, you pay cash to the driver and it's like 1,800 pesos. And the thing is, when you're tall, this is not the best bus for you because you cannot sit down. The distances from the rows are so narrow that you cannot sit. Also you cannot stand. Usually when I took those buses, I was like this and this. And all people will stare at you. They will not laugh, they will just stare at you because they think you're from another planet. So this here is actually where you can get your card and charge it with money, but be careful. Always make sure they put all the amount you give them on the card. They already tried me several times, like not charging everything and then keeping some for them. So always make sure the whole amount is put it on your card. So this is I think the main information you will need for taking TransMilenio or the public system. In terms of other possibilities for getting from point A to point B, taxi. When you arrive at the airport, for example, don't take a taxi there, you know, those guys coming to the exit and say, taxi, taxi, taxi. Leave them alone. Walk outside the airport and there's a queue and the official taxi stand. You can take the taxis there. That's safe. Just make sure, as a foreigner sometimes it's difficult, they charge you too much. When you go to La Candelaria, the fare is between 20 and 30,000. It also happens to Colombians that they overcharge you. Then, when you take the taxi around Bogota, I don't recommend just taking them on the street, especially if you don't know the language and nothing. Call the taxis by app. You can download this app. We'll show you, and that works quite fine. And then you also receive an email with the price and everything. And also, what you can do is ask in a store, restaurant, hotel that they call you a taxi. It's just much safer than calling a taxi. I heard many stories, never experienced something myself, just overcharging. That's I experienced it, and friends of mine also. But I don't know where those stories come from, if they're true or if it's just some fairy tales. But just be safe and call them that there is a record. Then also you can take Uber. With the Uber app, it works. Uber still is not legal in Colombia. So what happens if you call an Uber? You will be asked to sit in the front seat because some Uber drivers have been beaten up in the past by taxi drivers because competition. And by having you in the front seat, it's less obvious that those are working for Uber. So I hope when coming to Bogota, you will enjoy it. You don't have to move from A to B during rush hours because getting a taxi is difficult. Getting into the public transportation system, it's difficult. Just shift your hours a little bit, and then you will be perfectly fine for getting fast from point A to point B. Also, we will give you some more information down in the description section. There you will find the links to the apps and all the information you need that you can click and download the apps you need. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching our channel. If you have any comments for the public transportation system in Bogota, you want to add information, or you think I'm totally wrong, or you want to congratulate me because you understood everything, then I'm happy to have a comment, like the channel, and hope to see you soon back on my channel, or even better, here in Colombia. Have a great day and all the best from Colombia. Yours, Colombiafrank.